Firstly, very good evening. Thank you for being here with us today. And as we know, the automotive industry has progressed so many folds in the past few years, and at times it all comes down to the kind of talent that is being hired. So my first thing would be is what are the key general skills that you're looking out to hire in freshers?
Freshers. Raj, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to people. And I like to talk about good things as well as things that is very realistic. So, from a fresher's point of view, from the campus university hiring point of view, we hire for character, class, and competence in that order
Mhm.
because they are just fresh out of college. So, key things that we look at them is that a passion to bring on board differentiated ideas, eagerness to get involved, an ability to understand the business landscape, and most importantly, as an individual, how much time that can they devote to continuous and fast-paced learning. These are the general skills that we really look at, and as they come in, we have adequate support programs that makes them really, really good in a short span.
And what are the qualities you look for, on employees, when it comes to shop floor?
Um, at the shop floor, our requirements are very minimal because we are extremely stable because our retention measures have really paid off. We are really happy, and with all humility, we have one of the lowest attrition levels in the industry. But we do hire at the shop floor, but we predominantly focus on new age transformational skills with a focus on creating an intelligent and smart manufacturing organization. So the quality that we really look at is that competencies that we don't have within the organization, which is going to aid the transformation of our organization to be a smart service mobility provider. That's what we really look at the shop floor.
And in terms of hiring itself, what kind of education backgrounds or qualifications are you looking at, and what kind of backgrounds can apply at Hyundai India at the moment?
In Hyundai, we scout for differentiated skills and competencies, which reflect and cement our future goals. While engineering and management streams are the lookout streams at the campuses, there are three different areas or three different skills or competence we look at experience or lateral hires as we call it. One is the experiential skill that they bring, with the digital becoming a much focus item in the industry today. Um, from data scientists to AI and application software developers, designers, user experience consultants. This forms the experiential bucket. Then we look at transformational skill sets and competencies, predominantly managerial, who can translate their expertise to experiences. And the third part is the most important part because that's where we really, really dwell on the behavioral part. And we look at a very important factor, that is resilience, because pandemic taught us a lot of newer lessons. And COVID is what we really are, and very realistically, that's going to be staying for long. Resilience is one factor in the behavior part, and empathy definitely is the flagship item that we look into.
And when hiring new talent, I mean, what are some of the challenges that, as a company, Hyundai faces?
Okay. Let me set the context. So probably, please bear me if I give a long answer for this. Is
Yes.
the pandemic situation kind of ushered in a set of unique talent acquisition challenges, and this was kind of accelerated with the differentiated business priorities too. So one thing that we are really happy about and proud about is that our employee brand resonates very well in the market space. So off the mill skills and campus hiring is very easy for us to really embark on. But there are challenges in the technology infused roles with specific market know-how and application experience. But this we could tide over because we can't really say that's a challenge because we have been investing on internal talent grooming programs for the last 6 and 7 years. So in few words, we can put it at, we already have a pool of trained and talented people within our organization who can take us to the next level of skill-led, enhanced organization. So we didn't really have any challenges per se that will throw a spanner in the works, but we have been very selective in hiring, but very meaningful in the whole process.
And coming to how important the education actually plays a role with any getting up any role in the automotive industry. So do you think there is a gap between what's academically taught and what is practically practical knowledge rather?
With the whole industry, just not automobile, we don't consider ourselves an automobile per se company. We are predominantly a service organization today, very transformative and very futuristic. The future of work, which is influencing the work, the workplace, and the people at work, has completely disrupted the normal course of action and thought. So definitely academia needs to play catch up, but it's not a bad situation to have. From Hyundai's perspective, we have invested a lot of our efforts on campus programs, research partnerships, exchange initiatives. And in most cases, we are working on a co-created learning program model. So if you really ask me, a person who joins our organization has gone through a program called Genesis for 6 months. This really helps him bridge over the gap. A combination of exposure, experiment, and experience really helps them. But to give a very different perspective to this question is that as corporates, as organizations, we have a major role to play in making young people become better professionals, not just by influencing curriculum or scripting textbooks or drawing case studies. There is no substitute to experiential learning and in a real environment facilitated by practitioners. So we believe that the Hyundai model of having a co-created learning environment, as if you really see if the tide is running high, why should we build a bridge over the river? We should just build a raft and go with the tide. That's what we do in terms of helping academia walk along. And this has really worked over the 2 decades and a half for us.
And do you have a set hiring target for the current year, fiscal year?
Definitely. See, we are just coming out of COVID in a very big way. We have been consistently and consciously investing on talent. And pandemic has not deterred our visits to even campuses. We visited physical campuses over the last 2 years. So with the opportunities growing and the business showing an upside, we have ambitious targets, okay, in the range of even 3 digits sometime, but which really reflects our commitment not only to hiring young talent, but to the society as well. It's a very important thing for us. And also from a lateral hiring perspective, we are really focusing on high performance and futuristic organizations. So a competency-led hiring model for experience place. So there is an ambitious target, definitely very consistent with the trend that we have been over the last years. And there's never been a dip during pandemic in terms of hiring.
Okay. And, coming back to hiring itself, I mean, the industry has changed so much because, at least Hyundai is getting into electric mobility as well. So how has the hiring changed in terms of, a change with the company and the mobility plans as well?
Let me answer this question in 2 ways. Okay. One, as I pointed out in our previous dialogue, that our internal training programs that also focused on a very important stream called digital transformation. So we have been closely working on a co-created learning program with the prestigious academic institutions like IIM, IIT, and LIBA, and almost all our leadership. And when I say leadership, is the first 2 leadership ranks, which consider very close to 500 or leaders, have completely been exposed to digital transformation. And the other part is when we hire and we put them through the initial training programs, we have completely reimagined the learning curriculum. These were virtually enabled because pandemic helped us to become more virtual in our learning. So today we have very close to 600 data scientists, data miners in the organization. So with mobility coming into place, these are added advantages because engineer with a digital platform mindset is equal to as good as getting mobility into place. The second part of the question is that we have a very, very, very strong parent organization, which is extremely futuristic, extremely technology oriented. And when most people are talking CNG and electric, we are talking about hydrogen. So that's the future that we envisage. So we have invested a lot of effort with a very strong parent organization, with our alliances and partnership with learning institutions and academia. We have created an ecosystem that will take us along.
You already spoke about additional training methods, and you have internal training programs. I mean, could you elaborate a little bit more on what kind of programs these are?
Um, yes, definitely. Um, Let me talk about the talent development framework in Hyundai, which encompasses all groups and levels. So starting from a Marque Young Talent Program, that's what the Campus Hire program is. We have codenamed it Genesis. It's a 45 to 60-day program, which includes classroom and experiential training program, like breaking a car and building it back kinds of exercise. Then we have the core talent program focusing on high potential employees and subject matter experts. Future leader programs, which look into aspiring leaders. And with this has got inbuilt global exposures. We have a host of leadership and management programs, and we are in the process of creating a leadership academy with a very, very distinguished partner in the global space, and specific training programs or need-based programs. Say, for example, supply chain management. We are working along with one of the leading management institutes in India. If it is a digital program, already I mentioned, again with the institute. So it crisscrosses every part of the group. And overall, we made very close to 5,000 hours in terms of our leadership development program, very close to 750 hours in terms of our high potential program. So it spans across, and there are specific programs for specific groups. There are specific programs which is related to our need, current and future. And we always believe that learning is an investment, and this investment started paying off when COVID really showed its ugliest part. And we constrained ourselves from external hiring because we had enough talented people to take us along.
Okay, and hiring is something great, and you also said you have one of the lowest attrition values. So, what do you do to retain employees?
Hmm. This is a pertinent question which almost is asked to us many times. How do you keep attrition very low, and how do you retain talent? See, there is while benefits have its effects on retention, decisions, our experience on retaining talent, top talent, has been very unique and differentiated. So we have a very sustained employee engagement model, which is surrounded by lingering workplace experiences. We have accelerated elevations for really good performers who have been consistent. And we have exposures targeting to high performance individuals through planned rotations so that they are multi-skilled. They don't really rise up in one line. And we focus on future leaders, exposure to new learnings, a reward and recognition mechanism that's very, very reflective of the current trends. And most importantly, we have a group of leaders who are extremely empathetic. So every head of department or head of section, as we call it, they are line managers, double up as people managers. So uh, if someone is really thinking about leaving, it's quite difficult for them to put a reason to it. And most importantly, our benefit structure, which includes compensation, intrinsic and extrinsic, we don't really do a benchmarking with automobile industry. We have a comparator group because we want to really do transform ourselves to a service organization. So uh, our thought process on benefits are extremely competitive, so that it's very difficult for a person to think of away from this place. They are compelled, and the environment is very conducive for them to really stay along.
Thank you. And coming to my last question in this, see, work-life balance is something that's very much spoken about. And what are your policies? I mean, Hyundai's policies laid down to ensure employees get a good work-life balance.
Another question that is very pertinent and is very close to us, because a little over a year ago, we inaugurated our world class headquarters in Gurugram, and it is kind of pseudonymed as the center of transformation. So, with that, we kicked off the Future of Work program, and this program was kind of reflective in our smart culture initiatives. So, where we really went to the associate, to the employee, probably in terms of a work group mode or an interest group mode, and started co-creating experiences. So we had a millennial board where we had young people together. We had a junior committee where we had middle managers in effort. And we started to reimagine the entire workplace and the people at work. So if you really want to pick up some specifics, let me say there's a list of things that I couldn't read, but I will try to pick up key ones. We call it the quality of life enhancers. So 5-day work week, highly impossible in a very manufacturing setup, very close to a service organization. Yes, we do have a 5-day work week. Staggered shift timings. People can come in, check out in a very flexible manner. Work from home during exigencies. During COVID, we went on work from home on specific roles, except for the people in the line. Workplace engagement activities, not only within the organization, extending to families, to during the entire activities. Holistic well-being and mental health became very central. We have in-house counselors who make even home visits. We were very focused on diversity, so we had diversity programs with alternatives. This all culminated with fun and activity, which is not fun. We also like an intellect. We have knowledge forums. So if from a kind of flexibility towards fun, there have been a host of programs hosted, created, developed, and implemented by employee work groups itself. So it's been very meaningful to them. And the enhancers, as we call, as always made, see, in the entire globe, we have a culture study running with our sister concerns like Hyundai in America, Hyundai in Europe. India always is on the top when it comes to the survey in terms of culture. So that reflects on what we really invest on. So, but it's a long process. We are still working on different models. So probably over the year, we'll set up a very strong future of work model with open ends that can always be tweaked in.
And this is just out of curiosity because the automotive manufacturing segment was predominantly male dominated. So now with technology and connected car technology playing a big role in car manufacturing, has the percentage of women gone up?
Definitely. See, as part of this smart culture or future of work in umbrella, and smart culture being one, diversity and inclusion is also a pillar. So we don't run after numbers, but internally we have a target. How many leaders can we groom? How many people can we hire? So on a whole, in the last campus hires, we did a 50-50. This year, we are going to up it by another 10%. So in the last 3 years, we have been doing a balanced hiring in terms of gender diversity. And in terms of elevation, that's the most important thing as we as HR people leader would like to see is how many people take up leadership positions, how many people are in the decision making table. We have grown exponentially over the last 5 years. We have an uptick, which is phenomenal over the compared to the last 20 years. So we'll stick on to hiring from a gender perspective from campuses, and then we'll hold on to it. At last year, we were 50-50. This year, we will improve more.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure to mine too. And it was nice talking to you people.